Hey guys, welcome back to Tamiya Legends, and once again, thank you for stopping by. So it's part 2 and the completion of my Tamiya Avante Black Special lookalike. So this car started out as a 2011 Avanti. In the last video, we've obviously fitted the Black Special wheels and tyres. We got a brand new TBG shell wing and under tray, painted it, fitted the Tamiya Black Special Avanti decals. Thing looks superb. It's also got the correct Tamiya Black Special motor in there now. Driver's box art. I'll put a link to get it to this stage in the description if you've not seen that already. But in this video, I'm really hoping I'm really confident I'm going to take this to the next level and make it possibly the best looking Black Special out there. Just my opinion, but yeah, I've got plans for this. It's all cosmetic as well, bar one change. So in this video, the first thing we'll be doing is we'll be fitting the what do they call it, Avanti 2007 racing steering set. So this is a set, the carbon set that came on the Black Special as standard. This is a hell of an upgrade for the steering of a 2011 Avanti. If you don't know about it, and you're not that happy with your standard Avanti steering, I seriously can recommend this. It tightens a full front end up. It's about 25 quid off eBay to buy. So we'll get that fitted onto the chassis. The next upgrade I'm going for, I'm changing the Avanti wing to the racing wing. So you'll know this wing better as the Egress Wing or the astute wing. I think a lot of people don't realise that when the Avanti came out in '88, a year later, in obviously '89, where the Egress came out and the astute, Tamiya did the Egress Wing as a racing hop up for the Avanti, and it bolts straight to the Avanti wing mount. Don't think I've ever seen an Avanti with this wing fitted in the correct position. And what I mean by that is using the Avanti wing mount. I've seen lots of people with Avantis on Egress chassis and the hop up long wheelbase Avanti chassis fit the Egress wing, but again the shocks are a lot further back and they've used like the Egress wire mount. Looks good, does look good, but the point is that's not what it was intended for. So I really know this is going to look absolutely superb on this car. Obviously, it adds about, what would you say? It probably adds, I don't know actually. Probably adds about 3 centimetres in length of the wing, and depth probably another 10 to 12 mil. And obviously, you get your big sides that go on it. And as I say, it bolts straight down to the existing wing mounts. So in the last video, I used, for the full car, I used a Tamiya official decals, but on the wing decals, I used MCI reproduction, and I've saved the Tamiya ones because they're much better quality, especially on this number. So I saved them, so the correct decals will be going on this wing, and again, just painting it black. And then after that, massive shout out to Nick Walker on our Facebook group. Any of you guys who are on there will know Nick straight away. We call him Mr. Carbon. Nick makes bespoke carbon stuff for people. The last stuff I used of his was that gorgeous carbon Tamiya Top Force chassis. Absolutely top quality. Anyway, again, back in the day, around about '89, Tamiya brought out the high caps for the Avanti, again from the Egress, but in order to get them on the Avanti, the kit came with this front tower which goes onto the existing plastic mounts that you have, because the high caps are longer than the original gold chocks. Now, back in the day, this came out in FRP to match the '88 chassis. But in 2011, when they brought the Riri out, they also brought out this hop up. Now, there's not many about, to be honest. So if you bought that hop up, you've done well. So it came with a full set of high caps, but it also came with the front shock mount, but this time in carbon to match with 2011, if that makes sense. So obviously, as I said, this is a 2011. So Nick's kindly made me a carbon shock tower. This is really cool. And as I say, it just bolts, your bolts that are holding the top of the shocks on now, they hold your tower on, and then your top two holes then are actually for the shocks. So we've got a full set of Riri high caps. These probably came off an Egress, I'm guessing. This is really going to bulk up the look of this Avanti. Obviously it's going to have a higher end, a little bit more aggressive looking. The shocks themselves are a much sort of bigger bore, so it's just going to, and the colour as well, so it's just going to make the whole thing look bulky, and that's how I want it to look. Once we've got that on, we're also, at the same time, we're going to put internal spacers in here, because at the moment I'm done with this car and I need it to sit, with all these improvements we're making, I need it to kind of sit a lot lower because it's going to go on the shelf. So we will be lowering the car, and in turn, after we've done that, we'll have to sort out the camber front and back to make the wheels sit correctly and look like that's how it was supposed to be. And then the final hop up we're putting on it, we're taking these wheels and tyres off, and we're putting the ones off of my Super Trick Hotshot. Now these are vintage C's alloy wheels with the super, what would you call the tyres? They're the Pinspike Super Grippers. First came on the Tamiya Super Shot, if you know that tyre. Narrower fronts. So I just think that is going to be the icing on the cake for this thing. So I have massive hopes. This thing looks absolutely outstanding right now, and when I finish with it, I really do believe it's going to be superb. But I might get it wrong, we might make the changes, and we kind of look at it at the end of the video and we go, so we will see. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to crack on and get straight onto the easy fitting of the carbon steering set. Let's get cracking. Right, so this is a bit we're changing. As I said, this is part number 47388, and it's called the Avanti 2011 Racing Steering Set. It's about 25 to 30 pounds, but you get the full kit in there. So we'll open this up and let's see what we get. So this is what you get for your money. Now, as you can see, the Avanti had 1, 2, 3 of these plastic bits, or FRP bits, and then this aluminium joint. It completely does away with that. So you get 2 of those arms, you get your bearings for it, you get the main carbon arm. That's obviously to go straight to your servo, it's your servo arm, turnbuckles and some screws and spacers and things. So very, very straightforward to make. So basically you kind of almost get it built up and then put it onto the car. So let's get cracking. So first job, just obviously 3 screws, take turnbuckles off, and then that's your old system off of the car, and obviously that's what the old one looks like. So first stage is just to get the bearings in these 2 arms. So there's actually 4 bearings in that section and another 4 bearings in that section, and the turnbuckle end on there. And the next stage, just put it together. So 2 spacers through the bearings, a grip washer, and then the screw, and then the ball joint ends on the carbon plate, and that's it, ready to go on the car. So I've added the existing turnbuckle steering rods to the new steering system, and we've made up the correct turnbuckle length which you get in the kit. So now with a couple of spacers and 3 screws, it's just a case of actually putting this on the car now, and that's the new system in place. As you can see, it looks way cooler, in my opinion, and that's obviously how it works. And you can just instantly know it's tightened all the slop up. It really has. One interesting point: I have to take the servo saver off and reverse the ball cut position, because on the original setup it's on the outside, but obviously on this it has to go on the inside with this setup. So we'll just do that, and that's it in position. That clicking noise is a servo saver, but yeah, it's just so much smoother. It's unreal. It's a really good upgrade for the Avanti, and in my opinion it just looks way better as well. Anyway, right, so what's next? So let's get on to the wing side of it. So, as I say, TBG shell, main wing and wing sides. This is just to match a TBG shell that we've done. This off eBay cost me about £11, including the postage. So it's pretty straightforward to cut out, as you would imagine. These wing sides are supposed to fit on with some really small screws and nuts, and I don't think I have any, so we may have an issue on getting the side of the wings on. But first job now is to get it cut out, sanded, and basically just sort of mock it up and fit it to the car so I get the mounting holes in the correct position before we get any paint on there. Right, that's the wing roughly cut out, and I've just put the 2 screws through. I do need to trim it up a fair bit yet. But what I want to do next now is just get it mounted on the car, just make sure I get the angle right, and then we can start trimming the sides up properly. Right, that's the wing on. It's a bit of trial and error because obviously the wing mount, you've got plenty of adjustment on that, but because this is quite steep, depending where you fit it on the wing mount determines how steep it starts. So I've gone for it's kind of almost at its lowest, so that if I did want to give it more lift, I could do that on the wing mount itself, if that makes sense. But you get the gist of it from that, what it's kind of going to look like. Obviously it'll look way better when it's painted black and it's got the correct decals on, but that gives you a rough idea for now. Right now, I've got to be honest, I'm not loving it. When I decided I was going to do this, I took my actual Egress Wing off that car and put it on here, and I thought it looked absolutely superb. But just looking at this right now, I'm not loving it. But anyway, what we'll do now is we'll get it trimmed up and we'll get the paint on it. Right, that's the wing done. A little bit more trimming to do on certain areas just to make it look a little bit better, but you get the gist of it. Because it's a reproduction decal, the sides splay out too much. Probably can't see it on camera, but it's too much of an angle at them, and there's nothing I can do about that, unfortunately. Again, I've done one of these wings before, so I knew it, but the original Tamiya one is a lot flatter on the sides. So because I'm not 100% certain that I want to go with this wing anymore over the proper wing, I'm debating what to do. Now I have got the proper decals to go on, but I'm kind of thinking right now, and I know it's a bit of a waste, but I ordered a sheet of Black Special reproduction decals by mistake. So these are spare. Now ideally I'd like to sell them like £8 and get a little bit of money back, but I'm thinking, do I just, because there's only 3 decals on the wing, 2 number 5s either side, and then the Avanti, this one here. I'm just wondering, do I cut them up now and stick them on this wing, and then at the end of it, when the car's finished, I can pick which wing I want to have the correct decals on, if that makes sense. I think that's probably the best way forward, because I don't want to put the proper Tamiya decals on this wing, and then after 24 hours I'm looking at the car and I'm thinking, well, do you know what, this wing's better. If that makes sense. So I'll get the decals on the wing now, and then we'll get it fitted to the car. Right, so that's the wing finish for now. Again, still not 100% sure about it. It's growing on me slightly, but it hasn't got that boom factor that I expected, to be honest. Now, I am going to give it the benefit of the doubt for now, because I think the car needs to be finished. That when I put the other wheels on, it transforms the look of the car and makes it a lot more stealthier. Obviously, we've got the shocks to go on and to be lowered at the same time, so the car's probably going to sit, in fact, do it like that, car's probably going to sit about there, and I don't know if it's just me, but the wing just seems to look, I mean, when the car's right up there, the wing looks horrendous, but for me, when it's kind of going to be in the sort of position I want it, the wing does seem to work better. But again, we won't know. So I'll call that a day for now on the wing. And next job now is to get these high caps on. Right, next up is, this is a bit that's going to take the longest amount of time. So as I say, we're fitting the high caps instead of the Avanti Gold shocks. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to concentrate on the front end, and we'll get this carbon tower mounted. I can't remember which way around this goes. I think when it came out, it goes one way on the Avanti, and it was designed to be turned 180 for the Vanquish. I think I'm right in saying that. So anyway, the first part of call is just to take the front shocks off, get some extra longer bolts, and we'll get this tower mounted on. And then we'll just fit the small high caps on the front, and let's see what kind of stance it's going to have. Right, as I said, carbon shock tower just bolts directly to the plastic mounts that were existing there already. I'm going for this style round, just to give you an example of difference in size from Avanti shocks to the high caps. They're quite a bit different. So obviously that shock tower is going to give us the ability for a bit longer. The only other thing, I'll talk about the body after we've finished. I think let's just get the front short high caps mounted, and let's just see what the stance looks like. So that's the front end shocks on. They went on really well, to be honest. Looks totally different, doesn't it? And obviously they're all working. So yeah, I'm quite happy about that, and I'm happy because it sat a lot lower without me putting any internal spacers in. So I don't think I'm going to have to touch the front end, which is awesome, and no messing around with shocks. So next up now, let's get these rears off. What do I need? I don't know what I need actually. I would imagine it's a straight replacement, but you know, there's a fair bit of difference in size. So looking at that, yeah, I think the rears are definitely going to need spacers putting in, but we might as well build it up first. The rear shocks are held on with a circlip, which is annoying, but I'll whip those circlips off and I'll leave them off while we're messing around with it. Right, that's the back end shocks on. It's going to be a little bit trial and error now to get the right stance. They do sit quite low on their own. I need to get some grease in there. Have you heard that? That's not the shock, that's this mechanism here. So I've not put the circlips down here on here yet, but they're held in place. But I think what we need to do now is kind of build the car up and put the wheels on it just to see what it looks like. I mean, I'm talking stance wise now. Looks wise, with the high caps on, that looks absolutely superb, it really does. But whether the car's going to sit sort of with way too much rake, which defeats the whole object of what I'm trying to achieve here. So what I want to just show you quickly now is the wheels I'm using, because you're going to see these next. So if you've seen my super trick hot shot that I got, these are actually vintage C's alloy wheels, and they look absolutely superb. So I've onto the hot shot, I've now put the Egress tyres, Egress tyres and wheels, and it looks pretty epic as well. But I just think this car, because it's quite a special car to me, being the Avanti, these are the best wheels I've got, and obviously it's a black special, so black wheels. Now these also fit on with these awesome alloy hexes, so the hex is there and it allows you to do the hot shot wheel fitment. Now the Avanti does come with plastic black ones of these, but I want to go for the silver because those three pins pop through, you see, and I love the look of that. So obviously I could change out to black and then you wouldn't see them, but I do like seeing them. So I think the first thing to do, there's one other thing I've not mentioned. So on this hop up on the Avanti, the front of the body shell will no longer fit through under the new shock tower, obviously. So what you had to do was cut a load of this front end off around. So you kept this overall bit, but you cut round here now. Lots of guys do that, and obviously that's the way to do it, but now this is a shelf queen, I don't want to touch that shell, I want to leave it. So the easy way around it is I just have to take the tower off, put the shell on, and then build a tower up. Sounds a lot of work, but it's actually only unbolt the two shocks, move them over, take the tower off, fit the shell, put the tower back on, fit the shocks. But it'll look, in my opinion, it'll look way better. So, as I say, yeah, let's get the whole car built up now and see what it looks like, because I do have a sneaky feeling I'm probably going to have to drop these rear shocks again and put spacers in them, which is going to be a real pain. So this is what I was talking about not wanting to cut this. I definitely don't want to do that. So I fitted obviously the undertray and the shell, and then it's just a case of putting that tower back on like that, and then we can move the shocks into position. But I think for that look, obviously if you're running this thing, it'd be a whole different ball game. Although I would still do that if I'm honest, because I wouldn't cut that, but that's just me. Right, let's get that front end built back up, and that's it built back up, and I hope you agree. I think it's a much better way of doing it, so you can keep all... Oh, it looks awesome, doesn't it? It looks way different, doesn't it? Although it's only a subtle change, it does really transform the look of the car. Right, wing and wheels. Just thought I'd show you it before I put the wheels on, and then you'll get a better understanding whether you like the wheels or not. That looks pretty awesome, doesn't it? I'm really liking that. That big wing comes into play when you see the car like that. And those shocks. Oh, we do enjoy high caps. Anyway, let's get the wheels on. Boom! I'm loving it. I really am liking that. That's awesome. That really is. Obviously you look at it, you know it's an Avante Black Special straight away, but then you can start looking at the kind of subtle differences. Obviously the wheels, and then the shocks. The shocks don't actually stand out. It's yeah, the shocks blend in really well, and because it's a little bit lower now, I do really think that wing works. Oh wow, I do. I really like it. I really like it. Yeah, it really could just be a little bit lower on the back end, but I haven't got the willpower or energy to take the shocks off and put some spacers in them just yet. I'm being lazy. I've not even adjusted the camber on all four wheels because it wants to camber. I want to put the camber out more so the wheels are a little bit flatter. But yeah, I am really liking that. I think that's a really good angle where you get to appreciate what I was kind of looking for. You know, it's very, very stealthy. God, yeah, I don't want to keep saying I'm happy with it, but yeah, it's come out well. Just give you a quick tour. So leave in comments, guys, what you think. I'm sort of more interested what you think to the spoiler, because I think you like the shocks and what have you. And the wheels, but maybe you won't. Maybe you think it looks better with the pink wheels on. I'm sure some people will. But no, I've achieved what I wanted to with that, I think. And she's done, and I'm really happy with it. As I said, I'll be really interested to hear what you guys think to it. For a start off, I know the Black Special isn't... it's definitely not Marmite, but the original is always the one to have. And I don't mean an 88, I mean the 2011 as well. But I honestly do believe this is better, in my opinion. This is better than the kit now. And all I'm talking about is cosmetically. I know the high caps are better spec shock and whatever, but I just think in general, this is better. So yeah, gotta be happy with that. That's gonna go downstairs and sit on the shelf. And as I always say, look very pretty. I will have to make my mind up on the spoiler because I have got the original Tamiya decals left over, so I need to make my mind up what it's going to stay as, whether it's going to have the racing wing or the proper Avanti wing. I've still not made my mind up, but I will make my mind up over time, and whichever one I decide to stick with, I'll take the reproduction decals off, and we'll put the actual Tamiya made decals on, and they will look better, especially the number. It's quite a bit different. But yeah, so that's as far as I'm going with this car. Nothing else is going to get done to it. I'm not changing diffs over and titanium screws and all that stuff to make it more like a Black Special. It's my version of a Black Special, and at some point we'll get it running. Just because I've never seen a Black Special run, I don't think. So guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. So once again guys, thanks so much for watching, it's really appreciated. If you are new to this channel, if you could please consider liking and subscribing, and if you do that, smash that notification bell for our weekly videos. And as always guys, happy arseeing.